Welcome to the official part of the official Hamina webinar. And to make it more official, I am going to go all out PowerPoint. How about that? So can you see my screen, Joel, I wonder?
Yep, I've got PowerPoint. It looks good.
Excellent, excellent. As good as PowerPoint can look like. So today we're going to talk about the anatomy of site surveys. And I think, how about we split it to two parts? We do kind of like a, theoretical part. We talk a little bit about, what site surveys are, but we actually do a little bit of more than that. We do like, kind of look at the insides a little bit to keep it interesting. I know there's a lot of experts out there, and maybe, I think there will be some information there for you guys as well. And then the second part, we'll look at, take a closer look at some practicalities. We'll take a look at our product, kind of see how it works in real life, and go from there. So we're going to be looking at the site survey app, the Nomad hardware, as well as the, how it syncs to the cloud and all of that. Does that sound fair, Joel?
Yes, sounds great. Looking forward to it.
I am getting a thumbs up from Mr. Crane. So yeah, Joel, since this is the official webinar, we need to do official introductions.
Great.
Over to you.
Yeah. So, hey, my name's Joel. I do a bunch of different stuff at Hamina. Do a little bit of product management sometimes, some sales engineering, some technical marketing engineering, and I get to teach some classes every now and then and write some knowledge-based articles. So yeah, a bunch of different things based out of Helsinki, Finland, here with UC. So yeah.
So how's the Helsinki life working out for you?
It's good. It's good. It's been really fun. It's already pretty cold, which I kind of expected. There's already some snow on the ground, which I kind of like that. Pretty happy about it. I am really disappointed that the Northern Lights have been visible multiple times since I've arrived, and every time that they've been visible, my blinds have been closed on my north-facing windows. So I've missed it. So that's like the one downside. That's like the one bad thing that's happened. So beyond that, it's been just peachy.
Yeah, I hear you. We go to bed pretty early as well, and I have missed all of that this year as well. So I'm on the same boat. I think we need to make another, make some kind of an excuse to go to Iceland. Any Iceland partners and customers out there? I think we need to do some training there, because I hear those guys have really good Northern Lights. Anyway, so yeah, my name is Jussi, also from Hamina Wireless. I work with Joel out of Helsinki, Finland, and yeah, we were supposed to have Jerry here as well. Since we are a startup, we couldn't afford to create like a cardboard Jerry. It would have been nice to have Jerry in some capacity. He's not here, but it'll be the two of us. With those barcodes, if you whip out your camera, you can link with us on, what is it, LinkedIn, the social medias applications. So if you want to get the latest on Hamina stuff, follow us, follow Hamina Wireless. And yeah, there's some new and noteworthy stuff been happening at Hamina, right, Joel? First of all, little thing called, I don't think we ever publicized this in any way. I think I say this in like a side sentence at WLPC, but we support Wi-Fi 7, right?
Yeah, we actually do. As of 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, it kind of got lost in the shuffle of things happening around WLPC EU. So I think we got it done like 2 or 3 days before WLPC. So yeah, it supports Wi-Fi 7 now.
Woo! So for example, like things like data rate, there's Wi-Fi 7 APs, whichever vendors have them already. Data rate heat maps are updated. The roaming man supports Wi-Fi 7. You can even choose like Wi-Fi 7 clients, things like that. It's there. However, we understand that, it's not hugely deployed these days. And luckily, the hugest deal of Wi-Fi was really the 6 gigahertz, which has been fully supported from the get-go. Also, like obviously, Joel, you have been working a ton with these as well, with Dr. Vanhatupa, like tons of new APs and antennas and all of that. Any highlights that come to mind? I know there's like almost from every vendor, there's been new stuff in the last month or two.
Yeah, totally. I can't remember off the top of my head any specifics right now, but the Cisco D1 was one that we got in, like I think on release day when they announced it at Cisco Live, so we were able to coordinate with them on that. A bunch of other stuff. I think there is another Cisco one. It's the 9163.
Yes,
that one. We don't have that one in yet, but we're working on it. and we'll get that one added in there soon. And of course, if anything is missing, let us know. My job is I line up the antenna patterns, and then our doctor of science actually does the 3D modeling of the patterns and puts all the specs and everything in there. So yeah, lots of new stuff. Expect a whole new slew of antennas, probably like 30 more APs or something like that within the next month or so. There's just a whole bunch of stuff coming soon.
Exactly, and I don't think anybody has the 9163 with them, except for Jiri maybe. But yeah, if you have a 9163, send us a picture. Otherwise, we're not believing it. I don't know if the chat supports actually pictures, so so much for sending that picture. Anyway, moving on. Performance boosts, like there's been some really significant performance improvements for the 3 dimensionality, and also like for wall drawing, stuff like that. It was already pretty fast, but now there's in some places it's like multiple times faster, stuff like that. There was some coding work done to optimize some things, as far as I understood the technical explanation. So that's a big deal. Also, like there's been plenty of integrations. Maybe we should look at one of the integrations later. I won't bother you with it now, but integrations is like, it's going to be big. It's big. It's going to be even bigger. Cloud to cloud, like seamless kind of collaboration with Cisco, Juniper, Aruba, everybody. So it's happening. It's happening. A couple of things we have upcoming. 3D. So the 3D look and feel, some of our guys are like very enthusiastic about how the product looks, how it feels, and how it works on 3D. Should we take a look at this? Let's see if we can actually. So I don't have a before and after or anything, but some of you may notice, especially the heavy users of you, may notice slight differences in how the product looks. If you observe the shadow, like how things look, how the outlines look, how some things are now shadowed, and things like that, you may actually see a bit of a difference in the product. By the way, anybody recognize this lobby here with elevators here, the front desk? Joel, ring any bells?
Yeah. It took me just a second, but all of a sudden it clicked, and I'm like, yep, I totally recognize that lobby. Somebody put it in the chat if you recognize that lobby. Looks like Mark wins. Petri's a close second. Martin third. And Steven says red bar. Yep, absolutely.
Yep, let's put the AP in the red bar of the. Right. So this is the hotel in Prague for.
Can you make the AP red? Can you make it red?
Can I make it red? I wish we had a change color for the AP. Oh, yeah, we had it from the get-go. That's right. There we go, red AP. That's definitely suitable in the red. I'll put it in the corner where Drew Lenz and Sam Clements were, causing some kind of shenanigans the other day. So that's there. But yeah, just little things like performance improved, look and feel improved. It's just like, yeah, it's trying to take care of the little things as well, because as a product manager, isn't it so tempting to look at just new features, stuff like that? But you're really good at keeping me in check with that, and so is our R&D. Like, no, you see, that's not gonna happen now. So I appreciate that. Yeah, so 3D Roaming Man has gotten some new flavor, and then there's some site survey stuff that we'll talk about in a bit. So Roaming Man will get a significant update pretty soon. So currently our Roaming Man is pretty amazing. Like you can take the like any client device, kind of simulate the most common client devices and their route throughout the wireless network, see how they roam, what their performance is, stuff like that. In the new Roaming Man, not only does it consider like association, roaming, coverage, data rate, but it also looks at all the kind of key well-being statistics for you as a wireless user. Things like interference, like CCI, are the radios at overcapacity, and also it considers both uplink and downlink directions. So usually it's the uplink that's the problem. So Roaming Man by default can look at like the worst link, whether it's uplink or downlink, and kind of provide you stats on that. So it just gives you a more realistic, more holistic picture of the wireless network. What do you think, Joel? Should we get to the beef already?
Let's do it.
So what do you think of this kind of the terminology and the three main types of surveys?
Yeah, definitely have some thoughts about this. I love that you crossed off a predictive survey. I see that one come up a lot. People will say, "Well, we want to do a predictive survey," and yeah, we understand what people mean when they say that. But I do prefer to use the term site survey or pre-deployment site survey or post-deployment site survey. I think they're just a little bit more accurate. So I like to call my simulations predictive models, and I like to call my site surveys just to kind of separate them out. But then again, I don't know. I tend to get wrapped up in things like that.
I would totally agree with that, and yeah, it's there because I know you're passionate about it, and I think the terminology matters. It matters a lot. And then there's the pre-deployment, or often it's like AP on a stick. But I think AP on a stick or not, it's good to, like, if you have a chance to go on site and kind of to figure out a little bit, walk around a little bit, and kind of get a feel for how thick are the walls, like how is the RF. If I don't have an AP on a stick, or if I don't have time for an AP on a stick, what I like to do is then just walk around the site quickly, take some surveys, even of the existing network or whatever is out there, because even with that I can get a decent understanding of how the RF works, and that helps me when I'm doing my predictive design. Let's say if I go on site first to talk with the customer in a pre-sales phase, then with the predictive design it helps if I've collected any data. And yeah, obviously then there's post-deployment site surveys. So you set up your network and then you validate how it truly works. Of course, there's other types of networks like troubleshooting surveys, and this. I'm sure all of us tool vendors would love it if everybody surveyed every day, but let's face it, it's not going to happen. I don't think people will survey weekly or monthly or few even yearly. It's often a reactive thing. It happens, and I would definitely, if you have time and energy, I would recommend going out there and periodically surveying the network. But also the Wi-Fi dashboards today from the leading Wi-Fi vendors, they're pretty good at keeping the Wi-Fi in check to a large extent. And then if you run into problems, that's at least when you should go out. If you can't figure it out from the dashboard, then survey would be one option. All right. Oh, and there's your annotation still, Joel, by the way. I have no idea how to use Zoom. So.
Sorry, I just took it off.
No worries. I was like, I don't know how to use this. But yeah, here's really, what do you think, Joel? This is what it comes down to. This is kind of how it started. And at the basis, this is still what we're doing. It's just different tools. But, you remember in the beginning where we, there was more of this, like dragging a device, wireless device, and then taking measurements by hand. It's still a thing, and nothing wrong with that. But like, isn't this still what we're doing? No matter what the tool, it's about like taking measurements somehow and then writing those down in some capacity, right?
Yeah. I think I heard you recently compare a site survey tool to almost like a note-taking tool or something like that. Where I mean, it's a lot more sophisticated than a pen and paper. And remember the red solo cup design method, where you take a solo cup and the big end was your 2.4 gigahertz cell, and you flip it over, and the little end was the 5 gigahertz coverage cell. Obviously, we've come a long way since doing that, but I think just about everybody has done that at some point. But now we have the ability to really take measurements and plot those on a map. And so it is a note-taking tool. It's just a lot more sophisticated than it used to be.
Exactly. So here's our note-taking tool, and it does the same thing, right? It plots the wireless readings on the map, and it also like lets you plot custom notes, like, and photos and things like that. It's essentially, let's face it, it is a notepad or note-taking tool. It's just a little bit more advanced, a little bit lighter than before, a little bit easier to use than before. But yeah, it's still the same stuff. So our solution, in short, is the Onsite app by Hamina, and then its connection to the Hamina cloud, and being able to see that also on the Hamina planner. And then our hardware partner Oscium has created this amazing device, Nomad, which is essentially a high performance Wi-Fi measurement device, 2.4, 5 gigahertz, 6 gigahertz, all the standards, including Wi-Fi 6E, Wi-Fi 7, completely supported. And the Onsite app will take a look at that. I left these on the slides just so that if somebody just looks at the slides, we'll probably bundle the slides in the follow-up email. If you just look at the slides, there's a quick way to do that. And maybe the most recent question is, offline capability with the app, because you know you may or may not have internet coverage. Right, Joel. And there you are on chat, and I keep interrupting you. I do that all the time.
That's all right. Yeah. But no, this question does come up a lot, since Hamina Network Planner is a completely web-based tool that runs in a browser. The common question, which is a great question, is, well, what do you do if there's no internet connection? How do you survey? You know, how do you actually perform a site survey? Well, the answer is there's an app for that. And so Hamina Onsite is an app that runs on an iPhone, iPad, or Apple Silicon MacBook. It's 100% offline capable. I've used it in airplane mode, and yeah, you don't need an internet connection or anything like that. It buffers all the data on the device, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. And in fact, I was using it in airplane mode on an airplane just a couple of days ago, flying back from Spain. And I took a video of it, and I was going to post it. And then I was just, this is such bad quality, Jussi. And then I posted an even worse quality video 2 days ago. So much for that quality check. But anyway, so yeah, the usual spiel for this is for high performance, I should actually say 6 gigahertz capable radios. And then Spectrum Analyzer connector, USB-C for data and charge, and these are separate connectors. So why are our USB-C connectors separate for data and charge, Joel? Does it give you some additional functionality, or were we just, what were we thinking?
I think it comes down to a couple things. First off, simplicity is, it's very simple. This is the port you plug in to charge things with, and you can use basically any power delivery charger. Like you could use a MacBook charger. I could use my Nintendo Switch charger. Literally, that would probably work just fine. Anything should work in that regard. And then also it's a little bit simpler from a protocol negotiation perspective if you just put them on different ports. When Jerry and I developed the WLAN Pi Pro, I'd say Jerry and I, when I was involved in developing that piece of hardware, there were a bunch of people working on it. We had them on the same port, and that can introduce a little bit more complexity. I think just putting on the separate ports is the way to go. And also, I think it divides the wear between the ports too. I just thought of that. You kind of split it out into 2 separate ports, and I think it's a good idea overall. I prefer it this way. I much like it better.
And I've heard rumors that maybe it will be able to actually charge at the same time as you survey.
Yeah. So the theory is, not theory, we know this. The idea is if you want to get more time out of it, you could plug in a USB-C power delivery pack. I already have one that stays in my backpack all the time. It's actually a Nintendo Switch branded one, but it's one from Anker. And you can plug that in and basically run it for as long as the power delivery pack is going to go, and then as long as the battery inside the Nomad is going to go. That's going to survey for a lot longer than I will personally want to survey. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Exactly. And it's, I think the size matters. So it's very, very small. It has the Q20 port. It's very, very light. It's very, very small. It doesn't take almost any space in your battery pack. If you put it next to your head, exactly. There you go. So it is significantly, it's just, easy to travel with. And nobody cares at the airport, it seems like.
No,
we've tried it a lot.
Yep. Jussi and I flew with several of these all in one bag, and it was totally fine. And hey, if you've seen the Nomad in person, and if you have a comment on the size of it, what you think of it as far as the form factor, throw that in the chat. I'd love to hear what you think of it. But for me, the first time I actually held this device, I was shocked at how small and light it is. It really is very, very
Don't
compact.
Encourage people to participate on the chat, Joel. If there's single negative comment, we will ban the chat.
Sorry. Yep. Don't say anything negative, or you're going to get perma-banned by UC.
Exactly, and the chat will be closed. Forever. I'm kidding. Let's talk about theory of the of site surveys. In a sense, here's what the Wi-Fi measurement looks like. Like you have a floor plan, then you actually take notes and you walk around, and somehow your route gets documented on the floor plan, and then the end result is usually something like this, right? So it's often represented in heat maps. There's other ways to visualize it too, but this is the executive level overview is usually some kind of a way to get that heat map. So how do we get there? How do we get to the heat map? So first of all, there's different survey types that we will cover today. These are very infrequently actually covered in a lot of detail. So we should look at each of the survey types a little bit, at least the first three for now. So we look at the manual location entry, or yeah, that's just a term I made up. But essentially the types of surveys where you manually need to continuously, more or less continuously, plot your location. And then there's some automated location entry methods as well. And those I actually posted a few months ago on LinkedIn about Apple's room plan, Apple has a framework called Room Plan. So you can find a video about that on my LinkedIn as well. But yeah, I think there's some of the surveying will be automated moving forward. The technology is not quite mature enough to have it like very reliable, but it's getting there. So today we'll focus on the manual kind of clicking on the map and how, how do we click on the map? How is the survey data collected? How is the survey data planted on the route? Okay. So let's talk about point survey first. And there's different terminologies for that. We call it the point survey. So you click on a map, you wait for a couple of seconds, and then the data is collected for that point. Then you move to the next point, you wait again for a couple of seconds, data collected and stuff like that. And you repeat that as many times until you kind of have painted the map green, so to speak, until you have collected enough measurements from the area. So this is kind of if I was a beginner, this would be my choice of method. It's very relaxing. It's very easy to use. You can take all the time you want to find your place on the map and then click and wait for a bit. And there you go. However, so it's super easy and it's almost like hard to fail. And it's great for, even if you're using other methods at other places, it's still great for like, spaces that are cramped, or if you're required to take a spot from a hotel room right at the desk, for example, where people work or stuff like that. Stop and go, or point survey, I should say, is the perfect method for that. However, it can be a little slow, and data is only collected where you click. So only when you click is data collected, not between the clicks. Okay, so there's no kind of between the clicks that we would interpolate the data somehow. There's none of that. So continuous survey, and by the way, for you experts, this may sound simple, but we'll get to the beef after this slide. So continuous survey, what that means is the tool is continuously collecting data. So the wireless measurement device is continuously scanning all the channels in the Wi-Fi network continuously. And let's say your iPhone is continuously collecting all of that data. It doesn't stop. It keeps cycling through those channels, the measurement device, and the iPhone keeps storing that data. And it's your job to keep clicking on the map all the time. Every time you start walking, every time you stop walking, and every time you turn. Now, usually every time you turn is not the problem. And the first time you start it is not a problem. And when you end it is not the problem. But here's the challenge. So this is what a typical continuous survey looks like. And in our case, it actually looks like this, because we also update the heat map in real time, whether you're doing continuous or dot-based or whatever. We actually update the heat map with every click, the actual heat map. So with the continuous survey, though, the pros are it's as fast as you can walk. It's great for surveying in any location as long as you're experienced and you know what you're doing. And data is collected all the time, even between the clicks. So even here when we're not clicking, the tool is scanning all the time. The iPhone is storing that data based on those scans of the measurement device all the time. So it's not only storing the data at the clicks, it's also interpolating the data between the clicks based on the timestamp. So I know that like 5 seconds ago you clicked here, 1 second ago you clicked here, so 3 seconds ago you were here. So we know that data that we got 3 seconds ago goes here, and we plant that. Okay, it stores data all the time until you stop the survey. Okay, so it's great, it's fast, but here's the thing. What we started hearing more and more when we talked to surveyors before we or when we were developing the survey tool, it became evident that people are not either, for example, newbies. If you put a fairly fresh surveyor out there, they may be doing it wrong, or they may shy away from continuous survey. And the other thing is, even people who had been surveying for quite a while might have done this frequent mistake. So this could be actually a clickbait headline. Here's the, so you've surveyed for 5 years, you're still failing at continuous, and this is why. That would be my clickbait. So if you thought you knew continuous survey, so you tap as you change your direction all the time, as you walk around, you tap every time you turn your direction. In here, you have to wait for the door to open. You wait there for 20 seconds, then you continue and you tap. Now we actually failed the continuous survey. So what happened here is when we were waiting for the door to open, we were actually standing still for a good, let's say 10 or 20 seconds. And even during that time, the tool kind of assumed that you're somewhere between these 2 points, although you're not, because you were standing still and you didn't indicate to the tool that you were standing still. So continuous survey assumes if you click in 2 different locations, it assumes that you were between those locations very, very evenly throughout your walk. It always assumes straight line. Okay, it always assumes a straight line and a constant speed. So that's the thing. What should have happened is the user should have clicked twice here, once when arriving to that location and once when leaving, because he took a break there. Otherwise, that data will not be correctly associated. So let's do it the right way. Tap, change direction, tap, change direction, tap, walk on a line, change direction, tap, tap. Now we stop and wait here, wait for the door to open. Okay, there we go, we can continue. Another tap to indicate like, I actually spent those 20 seconds here. So when I arrived to that location, I tapped. After waiting, I tapped again, and there we go. Like, I wish I got $1 every time I see, this not being the case. And I totally understand. You're under stress, you're surveying, you're talking to people, stuff like that. This happens to me all the time. Just saying, this is like the number one thing that gets even the more experienced continuous surveyor. So tap 2 times. Once when you arrive. If you spend more time than a second or 2 there, tap again when you leave that location. Okay. So this is why we brought the line survey. All right. So we thought like, okay, point survey, super easy, but a little bit slow and no interpolating between the clicks. Continuous survey can be a little bit tough for the for the noob surveyors. So we wanted to bring line survey where you click when you start, click when you arrive to a location, and then you take a break, and then you click again and do another line. So between the lines, read between the lines. Between the lines, you can actually take a break. You can, it's more stress-free. It kind of combines the continuous data collection with the stress-freeness of the point-based survey. All right. So, and I kind of took it for granted that it's clear how this data is collected. So if we look at the site survey device, how does it work? So a survey device has, like in our case, it has 4 6 GHz capable radios, and each one of those radios is tuned to a certain set of channels to scan. Okay, and then the number of channels has been evenly chosen so that each of the radios is scanning roughly an equal amount of channels. All right, and this is just a made up example. It may or may not work exactly like this, but so you take, first adapter might handle, all of 2, 4 and a little bit of 5. Second adapter might handle most of 5, and then third adapter might handle, rest of 5 and some of 6, and fourth adapter might handle rest of 6. This depends, of course, whether you're in let's say, Europe with 500 megahertz of 6 gigahertz space versus the US, where you have more than twice that, 1200 megahertz of 6 gigahertz space. So also the way we kind of allocate the channels between the different adapters ends on your region, and we work it out for you automatically. What's notable here is no data payload is captured. We do not capture user data, nothing like that. Only management frames, and it's an only, in our case, it's a listen-only device, so it doesn't transmit anything. I think that's the case for most of these kind of devices. And as that measurement happens live, we are pushing that data into your iPhone, iPad, MacBook, and then at the same time you're kind of plotting your route as you go. And then we are also pushing that to the cloud whenever the phone has a chance. But again, just like Joel said, the phone can completely work offline as well. And when it gets a cloud connection, it will sync it up there. And of course, as it syncs to the cloud, then it will be visible in our browser-based network planner app as well. Joel, how are we doing with the chat?
There are so many chats. People are blowing it up, and even after you threatened them, they're still blowing up the chat. So
okay, so next time definitely no chat.
Yeah, we're turning it off after this, and people keep asking like hard questions that are difficult to answer.
That's unacceptable.
Unacceptable. Man. So real quick, if you have questions, keep throwing them in the Q&A tool. I'm way behind on answering them, but that will make sure that I actually get to them if they're in the Q&A tool. But then of course in the chat's totally fine too. I'm answering some there as well, but please keep going. This is great. I'm having tons of fun over here. Jussi looks like he's having fun. So yeah, nice work everyone.
All right, thanks guys, and keep it coming. It's almost like there's two webinars happening, one on the chat and one in here. It's too bad that it's the last webinar on the chat. That's it for the chat jokes, but it's kind of like a dad joke, chat joke, whatever. So anyway, why did we take 4 adapters for the wireless device? Well, it's pretty simple math, actually. We just look at like, okay, how quickly do we need to walk? Well, as quickly as a human can typically walk without, breaking himself into furniture and stuff like that. So we figured like, how quickly can you walk? How often do we need the points to be plotted on the map to like have accurate data representation? And then kind of look at like, okay, how many channels worst case in the States, which has, and in a few other countries that have 1200 megahertz of 6 gigahertz and 500 megahertz of 5 and to 4 the typical 11 or 13 channels. So there we go. So we came up with something like this, like, okay, at least every 3 seconds you would need to get an update to get accurate enough and granular enough data, and that's how we came to 4 adapters, and that's assuming we wait 100 milliseconds per channel roughly on each of the, whenever we go to channel, we wait for 100 milliseconds, next channel. So think about that. Each of those adapters is doing 10 channel changes almost per second. That's a lot of like, that's a lot of, listening, switching channel, listening, switching channel. 4 adapters, each one of those 10 times per second. That's a lot. Anyway, so this looks like a sales slide. I'll try to explain it. So I tried to think of like what was really important for us when we started making this device, and Joel is smiling at my sales slide for a very good reason. So we thought like performance and accuracy, like those are kind of table stakes. So we put in 4 adapters and 8 purpose-built antennas on the unit, strategically placed, all of that. Yeah, exactly. And in the end, it came to like, what gives us the maximal amount of revenue?
Sorry, I'll stop.
But yeah, simplicity actually. I think it's very, very important. It's important to be able to get the device out of the package, plug it in to your phone or pad, and it will just work. The app needs to be super simple. So UX, user experience, OOBE, out of box experience. So those are really close to our hearts. I mean, if you look at Hamina, I think if there's magic at Hamina, I think it's like combining science and ease of use and quickness of use, kind of like getting results quickly, but still being scientific, easy to use, kind of combining those 3. It's really hard. And that's kind of what we try to do well. If we do hard things well, it will give us competitive advantage and tons of money. Yeah, actually data storage was one important thing, because reliability. So what we heard over and over again is, do not lose my data. Do not, like if I've surveyed for an hour or a day, do not lose my data. So the guys came up, this was probably, when I say guys, I mean Joel and the team came up with a pretty ingenious system that saves the data all the time as you're doing your survey. So even if you're, and this is what I just noticed, like even if a catastrophic failure happens in the middle of your continuous survey, and I'd like to do like really long continuous survey. It's still my favorite survey type, don't get me wrong. So I had been continuous surveying in a row for like 10, 15 minutes. And then I had a catastrophic failure on my phone. So okay, charge the phone, boot it up, and what do I see? I lost the last 2 points of my 15-minute continuous survey. The last 2 points, because even during the survey, it had been saving my data, and I was like, dude, this is magical. I have no idea how it was done. We should actually invite Santtu and Rise and the guys for one of these things to explain how it was done.
We should. That'd be really interesting, I think.
Yeah, but off to the demo, I guess. Joel, you want me to do a little bit of demoing, or you want to do it?
Oh man, I could go either way. I'm still working on questions over here, but yeah. Why don't you do the demo? You're kind of a little bit set up, aren't you?
I gotcha.
You got it.
So I literally just turned on the Nomad device. Here it is, and next to my big head. How come the device looks smaller here, Joel? Not saying my head is big or anything, but
I didn't say anything.
This is the first webinar ever, man. But yeah, so the device is booting up. It takes like something like 20 seconds to boot. There we go. And I wonder if can I share like wirelessly? I need to share my phone wirelessly here, because
if you can't, I can totally take a stab at it here.
I should be able to.
Okay.
I'm hoping AirPlay works here where we are. So let me just exit that.
I'll let you know when I can see it. It should work. At the Apple Wireless Direct thing, I think will work no matter where you are.
It shouldn't rely.
Nope. It should be okay. And give it a try and see.
Use this MacBook Pro. That's me.
That's you. And wait for it.
Oh,
well, I guess we are in Finland.
H. Kruber's walkie-talkie would like to AirPlay. I'd click accept. Woo!
There we go. We got it. I was going to say, I guess like there's probably like 10 people with a computer called Jussi's MacBook in your building, but looks like you got the right one.
So here's where we kind of select the devices and all of that. So you can also use WLAN Pi, right, Joel?
Yes. Yep. You can use WLAN Pi. So we figured that the best tool for the job is the one that you have with you. And so, if your Nomad is somewhere else and you have a WLAN Pi with you, then you can absolutely use that. So I've done several surveys with that now, and it works pretty well. The one main disadvantage of the WLAN Pi is in most scenarios, you're limited to 2 Wi-Fi adapters on it. Not in all cases. And then the second thing is getting it connected to your phone. There's kind of a little dance depending on which WLAN Pi you have and which iPhone or iPad you have. And so if you want like the simplest way to go, it's Nomad at the end of the day, but nice to have it as a backup.
Absolutely. And what I really like about it is how you can search for the project. So if I wanted to say, I don't know, I wanted to search, remember the hotel in Prague that we were looking at? Was it Hotel WLPC? There we go. We can just search for it. And if we have it, if we have the project, in cache, it doesn't even need an internet connection. It'll just be there. So that's pretty cool. You have all the heat maps, you have the survey routes here, you have the different survey methods. So if I go to record survey, I can select between point, line, and continuous. I have my data coming in. I can see the exact dBm value. And I can actually see it also. Let's do a mock-up survey here. So I'm just gonna say, during my survey also, I can actually see my signal strength really clearly. So I know when I'm running out of coverage. We actually had a customer call just like an hour ago, and they were asking for this, and yep, it is there. And you can see how when we do the survey, it actually fades out the heat map nicely, so it gives you room to makes it clear for you to survey. It gives you notes as well, so you can write notes, you can take pictures, it's all there as well. And what I like about it too is it's fully blown, so it has things like I don't know, a real-time view. So I'll just move the unit to get some differentiation on the signals at this office. But yeah, you can see your primary signal, your secondary signal in real time for all the bands, including 6 gigahertz, one of which we have one here. There we go. And on 5, of course, we have more. So it gives you primary signal, secondary signal, as well as your loudest neighbor in real time being updated. And what I really love about it is the channel interference view, where we can see easily how crowded are the channels. And at this office, the channel distribution seems really, really excellent. And it, of course, accounts for ACI on 2.4. It accounts for wider channels, all of that. And here you can see this is actually a display of ACI, right? You have an AP, a loud AP on channel 6. So you can actually, you have an AP on channel 6, so or several. So you can see how they also radiate on the other channels, stuff like that. You have SSIDs there. All the SSIDs are listed, and then the individual APs as well. So for example, at this office, we have plenty of Cisco APs. We have a couple of missed APs, so it gives you the tools to look at the network a little bit real time. But the other thing I really like about it is the creation of new project directly from the app. So it's a fully blown app where you can actually create the whole thing from scratch, and you can even upload the floor plans. Even if the floor plans are CAD files, even if they're PDF files, you can upload them directly on your phone if you have them, or on your iPad. And it runs on phones, iPads, and Apple Silicon MacBooks. And then once we're done with collecting the data, it automatically syncs to the cloud. So let's take an example here of the famous Prague hotel. And now you see these 2 tabs here. I hope you can still see my screen. There's a simulation tab and a survey tab. And we can look at coverage for different SSIDs, different frequencies. We can select and deselect survey routes here very easily. It's all here, and it's just incredibly fast, incredibly convenient. Of course, over Zoom, you cannot really experience how fast the thing is, but if you've used Hamina Network Planner, it is that same ultra fast experience as well. So, and super quickly between simulation, survey, so back to simulation, predictive modeling, all of that. So yeah, that is that. Joel, what do you think?
I think, have you been demoing or something over here? I've just been answering questions, so
man.
I'm not even sure what's going on.
I wasn't even sharing my screen. I've been demoing to myself for the last 2 hours.
I think everybody left. No, there are so many great questions. One that's come in several times is what about Android support? And so I think we should tackle that one head on. To all you Android users out there, I hear you. I'm a huge fan of Android. Android was my very first smartphone, and I've always had an Android phone with sometimes my primary, sometimes my secondary phone. Love Android. We decided to, instead of half-assing 2 things, we decided to whole-ass one thing. And so we have, that's a quote from Parks and Rec. Some of you may have recognized that, but we have decided to focus on one platform. And so with one code base, we're able to support iPhone, iPad, and Apple Silicon Mac. It's literally one code base. The compiler just spits out 3 packages or something like that. The developers will probably say, no, it's not that simple, but it does allow us to very, very quickly develop for those platforms. So for now, we're just sticking with iPhone for now in the foreseeable future. I think that's where we're going to leave it for now. So hopefully that's not a problem. One thing I will point out is that a 9th generation iPad is $330. So it's pretty inexpensive to grab one, and maybe it's a good chance for you as an IT professional to explore another platform a little bit. Get to know another platform. It was hugely beneficial to me the first time I got an iPad after using nothing but Android for so long to learn something about that ecosystem. So yeah, I hope that's okay for everybody. So sorry that we had to make some difficult decisions on that. So Jussi, comments, anything?
Yeah, no. One thing you mentioned half-ass and whole-ass. There's also an ISMO bit about that. The word "ass" isn't there?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that?
I
We should
have.
totally paste that in the chat if we can find it. The word "ass" from ISMO.
I'll go see if I can find that. Maybe.
And in the meanwhile, I can answer a couple of questions.
Perfect. Sounds good.
There was a really good one from Richard McIntosh. Hey, Richard, what's the deal with serving all three bands? Possible with Nomad, issues with scanning speed. So that's exactly right. And that's why we went with 4 adapters, so that we can quickly scan through all the bands, even in the States, even the non-PSCs. So every 2.5, 3 seconds, even in the US with all the channels enabled, you will get an update. And in 3 seconds, you will not go far enough for the Wi-Fi to significantly change, and it will change, of course, when you turn the corner, but then you will get a reading right away. So you will be good scanning all the bands, and scanning all the bands is what we do. Like, that's exactly what the device was meant for. Yes, Joel put in the word "ass" link on YouTube. Don't watch it yet. Watch our pretty faces for a while, since here's about to answer some questions, Mr. Joel Crane.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna go like lightning round from the top. Jussi, hopefully you remember the number here, because I'm blanking on the number here. But Nick Smith asks, how much will it cost me to get up and running with Hamina Onsite plus the Nomad, so I could go out and perform pre and post deployment validation surveys? Do you remember the price off the top of your head?
Excellent question. 2,490 euros or dollars is what gets you Nomad and 1 year of the app. And the subsequent years of the app are 780 USD or euro per year.
And what about spectrum analysis? What's the deal
900
with
more, 900 more. Plug-in spectrum analyzer. The production strap has a place for the spectrum analyzer. You just clip it here on your shoulder. There's a place for that on the strap, and there you go. It plugs into the USB-A port next to the recessed data port of USB-C, as illustrated by the engineer himself, Joel Crane.
There it is.
By the way, how does it feel not being thrown any APs at you on a webinar?
So we're not in the same building. So you can't
for
throw
safety
any
reasons.
Points. Yeah,
for safety reasons, we're a mile apart.
Although Tomi's in the other room watching, hopefully he doesn't get any funny ideas. We'll see.
Yeah, he's not very aggressive though.
Nah, he doesn't throw things around typically. So, question from Jeremy: once Intuitibit's integration happens, will you be able to utilize Wi-Fi Explorer type visualizations too? Can they run simultaneously? Jeremy, that's a great question. So we are planning on doing sort of like your Wi-Fi scanner that you're used to seeing. We've already got like a basic Wi-Fi scanning view up and running in the on-site app, and so you'll be able to do some troubleshooting there. And then Intuitibits is going to support packet capture with the Nomad.
The Nomad.
Yep. So that's the plan right now. One other
and
thing,
by Intuitibits, you mean which tool will support packet capture with the Nomad?
AirTool, specifically AirTool exactly. By Intuitibits.
The best packet capture program out there.
Yep, the best one, the most versatile one. We're very happy to get to be included in that. So that's pretty exciting. Also,
we just want to hang out with Adrian.
We do. We mostly just want to hang out with Adrian. Additionally, one other thing about the spectrum analysis is this will probably come a little bit later, but we are currently planning on supporting our old friend, the MetaGeek Wi-Spy DBX. So that'll come a little bit later. We're just going to get like the Wi-Fi clarity with 6 gigahertz support going first. But hang on to your DBX, because I still think this is a great little spectrum analyzer, and we're planning to support that. So keep an eye
it's
out.
Sustainable, right?
Yes.
Nothing gets thrown away. Perfectly good device.
Yeah, definitely don't want to these to end up in a landfill or anything like that. So hang on to your DBX. Let's see. I'm just going to keep going down the list here. I'm going to answer them in the order they come, even the difficult ones. Jonas asks, wouldn't it be possible to track the movement pauses in the survey and step counter with the phone? Any thoughts on that, Jussi? Tracking movement pauses and step counter on the phone?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If I only could find my LinkedIn post, but if you scroll down my LinkedIn feed all the way back to like, I don't know, early October or something, a couple of months ago, I did post a post about the Apple Room Plan SDK, which will be the future for like, mapless surveys, already starting to get utilized by different survey tools. So yes, it will be possible, but today still the technology is not quite there for like really robust what you want, like we wrote there on the sales slide. Like we really want this to be reliable, and the tech is not quite there in terms of reliability, but it's very quickly getting there. So we will be able to more and more automatically plot the route and also kind of understand the environment as you do your survey. Apple is doing a fantastic job with that. Also, other LiDAR companies are doing like purpose-built LiDARs, like long-range LiDARs, things like that. It's pretty amazing what's happening out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Continuing to go down the list, Lonnie Legrand. Hey, Lonnie, good to see you in here as always. Configuring the adapter separately to meet your frequency and channel needs would be great. I agree. Thoughts, Jussi? Anything on that?
I wonder if I have heard that from a certain Lonnie, maybe even today earlier.
You guys talked, didn't you?
But yeah, agreed. Definitely, the more configurability, the better. I think we need to figure out the use cases. When would you customize it and how? I think the first thing that this will do is we will reconfigure this automatically. I'd rather have you not typically touch the channel settings at all. I wouldn't like to. I wish the software would do it automatically for me. So by default, scan everything for me. But for example, when I'm trying to find an AP, and we will have an AP locator also in the tool, but let's say you want to locate a certain AP, you click on that AP, and then we focus everything on that AP only, so we get ultra fast RSSI updates from that AP from all the adapters, so that we can super quickly find that. Does that make sense, Joel? So yeah. I think it's use case driven, or almost like to a large extent. I don't know, maybe it's the Meraki in me, but I'm a huge fan of like ease of use and like only make me configure where possible. On the other hand, I totally understand flexibility and versatility and configurability as well. That's why, for example, in Hamina, some of the things are hidden by default, but you can definitely, configure a lot of things on the network planner as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. I'm going to skip Dawn's question and come back to it in just a second. So hang in there, Dawn. But from Wouter, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. With the iPhone having the built-in compass, is it possible to use it to rotate the map automatically? That probably is possible. I'm worried we'd get jitter, but definitely possible. But one thing I wanted to show you really quick that we do support today, this was just like a little... I
forgot that.
Yeah, this is like a little extra thing that we decided to throw in here that I have absolutely loved. Now, the effect isn't going to be as good for you here on my screen because you're not, well, actually, no, I think it'll work just fine. You can basically 2-finger rotate the map, and it basically locks to 90-degree angles. So you see how it kind of snaps. And what I love about this is I typically don't rotate it while I'm surveying, but I'll just orient myself against a wall and then rotate it to where I'm like, okay, that's like forward to me now. And then I'll go do my survey without really doing any more rotations, but you might actually want to rotate it multiple times while you're surveying.
And I do it. I do it personally. Like I also rotate it during the survey because I'm so bad at reading the floor plan unless it's like, unless I'm walking north on the floor plan. I absolutely love this feature. And I think it was Pasi, our guy from up north, who actually came up with this and fine-tuned it. And it's really, really, I really like that.
Yeah, that's just one of those features that sort of emerged that just ended up being so much cooler than we even thought when we built it. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. Cool. Okay, moving along. Back to Dawn's question. So now that we're using 80 megahertz channels and 6 gigahertz, and the beacon is sent on the primary channel, but not necessarily the data, how does the tool parse that? So Jussi, correct me if I'm wrong here, but if I remember correctly, we've got 2 adapters available for 6 gigahertz. And so aren't we looking at the primary scanning channels with one and then filling in the gaps with the other one? I thought we were doing something like that, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
I don't think that's the default behavior, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I specified that. So I think in our first simple iteration, maybe not, but I think like yes, for like 20 versus 80, it's easy to parse from, we go through every single 20 megahertz channel, PSC or not, and then parsing that channel, we get like, okay, this is an 80 wide, this is a 20 wide, so it's all there, and every channel gets scanned, and from there we can derive like how wide the channel is, and
okay.
on the APC.
See, this is how Jussi and I have like alignment meetings, is we just host a webinar and then we hash it out on the webinar in front of in front of a couple hundred people. So
exactly right. I'm glad we get to. Well, yeah, we haven't hung out too much, Joel, have we? Because
you've been gone, I've been gone. Yeah, absolutely.
How was the time with the family, by the way?
Oh, it was really good. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We had family visit us here in Finland, which was pretty great. So yeah, we went down to Estonia. Anyway, back to the webinar. So question from Miles. So there's no hard drive device storage. It's all cloud-based, syncs when the internet is live. I normally like to sync from the device to the tool before leaving the site in case of issues. But what if you don't have internet to upload? Miles, I don't know. Paraphrased a little bit for you. So basically what we're doing is we are buffering all of the data on the iPhone. So none of the data gets saved on the Nomad. The Nomad basically just does the packet capture and passes up the USB cable to the app, and then the app buffers it as you go. And the developers worked super hard to make this a very, very reliable place for things to be stored, at least from a Hamina perspective. And we're very confident from it. The operating system is pretty stable, and like we don't see problems there. So we've had really, really good results. Even if we like force the app to crash in the middle of the survey, then we still save pretty much everything right up until the moment that we force the app to crash. And so it should be very reliable. And there's a nice little indicator there to tell you whether it's synchronized or not. So if you can get it connected to an internet connection, give it a few seconds to synchronize, it synchronizes up to the cloud. You get a little indicator that says, yep, you're synchronized and good to go. So far, this has been super, super reliable for us.
And since we we don't store things like data payload and stuff like that, the storage pace on the iPhone is almost infinite. If you look at like survey data, there's a lot of that.
Yep. Beacons are just not very big, and that's the main thing that we need to store. So that actually works out pretty well. A question from Sem is how many people can run the survey on the same file on the cloud with multiple devices at the same time? Will it crash the file when we sync? It should be fine. We've done some simultaneous surveys together, and basically all the results just kind of get combined together. And so I don't know exactly how many people you could have going, but I'm not anticipating any problems there. Should be just fine with multiple people.
That sounds like a company day for us to try it out.
Totally. I think we should try it. So I know the developers did do a bunch of people surveying at the same time about a week ago. So I know that there's been some stuff has been done around that, but I was busy answering emails or something. Another question from Wouter here is, can you site survey using Google Maps outdoors? You can absolutely do an outdoor survey, no problem. In fact, that's one of the first places that we tested this, was doing outdoor surveys. So basically just go get a screen grab from Google Maps or Google Earth or even Apple Maps. I've used Apple Maps a few times. And then you'll need to scale it. So be sure to grab the scale reference down the corner, or just have something in the map that you can use as a point of reference to scale it. Drop it into Hamina Network Planner, synchronize it, and go survey. That should be no problem at all. So I've done that several times.
Exactly, or you can do it on the phone as well. Just snag a picture from Google Maps on your phone.
Done that.
Create the entire project on the phone, and there you go. You can even scale the drawing on the phone as well.
Yep, absolutely.
And we talk about phone, but we also mean iPad and laptop,
MacBook. Yeah, absolutely. Although at this point, iPhone is my preferred survey tool. So I'm really enjoying using that. But we'll get at the iPad Pro. The 11-inch iPad Pro, I think, is also great.
There is credit to that. I think like it's a screen size thing, I guess.
Yeah. Either way, I think it's going to be good. Ross has a question. Can you import these results into SketchUp? Ross, that's a really interesting question. We don't have any kind of like SketchUp integration or anything like that at the moment. But there could be some workarounds or something like that. Shoot me an email, just joel@hamina.com, and let me know what your use case is there, what you want to do with that. And yeah, it'd be nice to hear about that. I'm a longtime SketchUp user. If anybody remembers the original WLAN Pi, the case for that, I designed that in SketchUp. So yeah, have a love-hate relationship with SketchUp, I guess.
Nice. There's been on the chat, if you don't mind me, like there's been talk on the chat about incorrect floor plans and stuff like that, and yeah, you know, we get those all the time as well. I was like just, you know, test surveying a hotel with a customer, so we just took a, you know, fire escape plan, and that was actually good because it was up to date. But not just like, I hear your pain about incorrect floor plans, but also how about this? I was surveying our campus, which is like, I don't know, 5 buildings and 30 floors, something like that, and then no. I was like, oh my gosh, this floor plan is so incorrect. And I surveyed the entire floor and I was like, the walls are in totally different places. And what happened? And by the way, lights turn off at 8 p.m., I guess. So what happened is I had taken the incorrect floor plan. I was on floor number 2, but I had the floor plan for floor number 1. And they have almost identical layouts. So, and I was stupid enough to survey the entire floor. I was just wondering, like, why are the walls so off? Why are the walls so off? And then, you know, after being finished, I was like, yeah, okay, thanks, guys.
Love it. And real quick, in the chat, Richard McIntosh asks, when will Apple release a new Airport Extreme? Richard, oh my gosh, I would love to see a new Airport Extreme. In fact, fun story, when we moved to Finland a few months ago, like 3-4 months ago, I actually ran 2 first-generation Airport Expresses and a second-generation Airport Express. The second gen is 802.11n, by the way, is 802.11n. I ran those exclusively for like 3 months in the apartment. And you know what? They worked fine, because I personally believe that 802.11n is still good enough for like 90% of what we need to do today. But anyway.
Speaking of extreme, I don't know if there's AI in the lights of this building, but see what happened with the lights. There's purple. There's extreme purple now behind me.
Nice.
That's AI for you, man. That's AI.
Party mode enabled. Okay, moving along through the questions. Just a handful left here, and by a handful, I mean like only 15. So 21. This is great. Another question is, Juniper Mist has a feature to take photos when adopting APs and switches for documentation purposes. Can you take photos while site surveying for notes? Jussi, do you want to talk about this a little bit while I get a little demonstration ready over here? Oh, did I lose you? You're on mute. There you go. Now you're not on mute.
No, I lost my computer using abilities. So yeah, can you take photos? Yes, there's a note-taking tool on the app that you can use to, you know, capture text notes. Also, it uses, I think it supports the standard Apple speech-to-text dictation as well, so you can talk to it, and also you can take picture notes. So presented by CWNE number 848.
Oh, I'm so glad that aren't you glad that you got a CWNE in here to show you how to take a note? Okay, so here's the
exactly,
app.
And I even memorized your number, CWNE 908.
That's pretty close, pretty close. Okay, so there's the AP that I want to take a photo of, right? So I tapped on the write notes thing here. I'm gonna tap on the AP and say this is an AP, and then I'll hit the picture button, and then there we go. There's our AP right there. Very professionally hung up.
I can't believe it's duct tape. Or what is it?
It's a zip tie. Yeah. I promise we're going to fix that.
It's the worst webinar ever.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, there we go. Now I have added a note to the project that's going to get synchronized up automatically and all that. So yeah, there you go. Yes, you can do notes. So we really should fix our APs here.
Yeah, you know.
Somebody put in the chat, do you have APs hung up in worse ways than that? Somebody let us know. Please validate us. I'm begging you, please. All right. So let's see. Let's keep going here through these. I hope everybody's cool with us just answering questions. I'm enjoying this a ton. And also the chat's continuing to go. So thank you, everybody, for this. Let's see here. A question from Miles. I think we got this one earlier, but does the device record the survey to the storage device or on the Nomad, or just to the cloud? Basically, we save the survey results to the iPhone. They don't stay on the Nomad at all. They go right over to the iPhone. We buffer everything on the iPhone and then upload it to the cloud. So yeah, hopefully that's nice and clear.
Yep, cloud connection again not required. So you know, if you don't have cloud connection, that's fine. Everything will be saved locally, and when it has a chance, when it gets, you know, a breath of internet, then it saves to the interwebs.
Yep, absolutely. Some questions about WLAN pies for surveying. So there's like multiple ones in here, so I'll just grab these all at once. Which WLAN pie is recommended? That's a tricky question because I love the WLAN pie. Just so we're clear, absolutely love that thing. But oh, I think UC is typing. I can hear you typing, UC, nice and loud. You're not using your this microphone, are you? So for WLAN pie support, every single WLAN pie has like a little bit of a compromise or a challenge to getting it connected to your iPhone or how many adapters it has or something like that. So I've written a knowledge base article on this. If you want a copy of that knowledge base article, email me at joel@hamina.com, joel@hamina.com. I'll just send you a link to the knowledge base article. I don't have it right here in front of me to get it to you. As far as best one, probably the WLAN Pi R4 is probably the best one right now for doing the site survey. The M4 which is this one, is not well suited for site surveys. This is way better as a leave behind device. Has a billion uses. It's great. You should definitely get one, but not great for site surveys because it has one adapter and there's no, the USB-C port on it does not support on the go. There's no data over this port, so you can't connect it to an iPad or an iPhone easily. So yeah, email me, joel@hamina.com. I'll get you the recommendations for that. UC, anything in there you want to answer?
It looks like somebody just commented. Looks like a Joel Crane 3D case as well. So that's
this is actually a Nick Turner. This is the M4 and the R4 are 100% Nick Turner designed. So thank you, Nick Turner, for that.
Negroni Printing Incorporated, right?
Yeah, Negroni Nick as they call him.
Negroni Nick.
Why have we never said that before?
Hashtag Negroni Nick.
There you go. Yeah. Cool. Let's see. Question from Magnus. UC, what do you think of this one? Will I be able to test Hamina Onsite with a WLAN Pi before my Nomad arrives? Any thoughts on that one? I'm totally putting you on the spot here. Sorry about that. Thoughts?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I have, like, to be honest, I'm so detached from reality. I don't know how our shipments are going to go, whether the software ships some days before the hardware, what the shipping schedule exactly is. Like, our COO is so good that he just handles everything, and I can just, I'm in Norway, la 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 la. So that's
yeah,
that's a very
Magnus,
scientific answer.
Shoot me an email, joel@hamina.com. We can chat about it. But yeah, it kind of does depend on when the software is ready and when the hardware is ready and kind of how things go. But that might be possible. Lonnie's question is Parks and Rec. The answer, Lonnie, is yes. I agree. Let's see. Kostas asks, do we need an iPhone with a LiDAR sensor? No, you do not. Actually, I have been using Onsite with my iPhone 13 mini, which you can have when you pry out of my cold, dead hands, you see, when I will give up my iPhone 13 mini, or when there's an iPhone 16
That's why
mini.
I was shaking my head, just to mess with you.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, you don't need, basically, if it runs iOS 16, you're good. That's basically all you need to know.
What if you don't have a USB-C?
Then in that case, did you hear that, UC? The walrus roar? The walrus just roared.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Little insider thing for people that are still with us 8 minutes after the webinar was supposed to be over. Whenever someone subscribes to Hamina, like buys a subscription, there's an Intel Nook here in the office that plays like a walrus roaring sound. So try to time your purchases during the day when we're here if you want to annoy us with walrus sounds. So, okay, back to that question. If you have a Lightning, an iPhone or iPad with a Lightning connector, then you need this. This is an Apple camera adapter. It's basically a Lightning to USB-A adapter, and then just a USB-A to USB Type-C cable to connect it to your Nomad. So this is a little adapter, super easy. These things are not expensive. They're 30 or 40 bucks. So that's what I use. Okay. I'm just going to keep going. How can I connect the spectrum analyzer to the Nomad? Is there a USB port? Yes, there is. There's a USB type A port on the side you can plug it into. What about roaming, packet loss, latency? Do you have any kind of active survey? Fantastically timed question, whoever you are. UC, any thoughts on the active survey side of things?
Yes, absolutely. And this is a terminology thing. Some people call any walk or any on-site survey active survey. But to me, like what we've discussed here has been like kind of like a passive survey, still on site, does the heat maps, but passively listening for probes and beacons while scanning with the adapters. Active survey, like connecting to the network, or just getting usually connecting to the network and getting some kind of stats about the connection. Remember, Air Magnet used to get some kind of retry rates and stuff like that. The Air Magnet survey, and then it can be ping based stuff like that. Absolutely, active survey will be coming after 1.0 very quickly. Will be supported as well, and it will be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for that great question, because Jussi and I were just talking about that today. So great timing. Let's see. Rob asks a great question. Rob is asking if there's any news on the integration between the NetAlly, Link Live and AirCheck G3. So yeah, Jussi, any news on that?
Absolutely. So this will be supported as well, either at the time of the release or absolutely like immediately after. So you can actually survey with your G2, G3, NXG. Joel is holding one in his hand as we speak. You can survey with that. That uploads it to the Link Live, the NetAlly cloud, and then we can import the surveys from Link Live. That requires the Hamina Network Planner Plus in order to import that stuff from the Link Live cloud. Excellent question.
Yeah, super good question. So basically it kind of bumps the Network Planner Plus extra features thing. Is basically private cellular, sloped and raised floors for auditoriums and stadiums and stuff, and also import survey results from Link Live. So those are kind of the three things you get with Network Planner Plus. $780 a year. It's still super inexpensive, we think. Maybe we're kind of biased, I don't know, but yeah, that's where that comes from.
$780 per 6 months is plus, right?
Yeah, $780 per 6 months. Sorry, yeah. Still hopefully inexpensive. Another question from Miles. What about reporting? Like, can you take the survey into Word format, kind of like Ekahau does? So right now, Miles, we basically have two report types. First off is a PDF report. And I kind of like to think of it like, if you really need a PDF out of it to give to a customer that requires a PDF or something like that, you can generate the PDF. To be honest, I never use it because we have this other thing called an online report. So basically, you can create the report and then you generate a link and give that link to your customer. And then they get basically a read-only version of the project in the browser. So they can pinch to zoom, they can click on specific APs, they can even drag the roaming man around. If it's a simulation, they can do that in the design. It's basically a read-only version of Hamina. They don't have to have a license or anything like that for it. They just need the link. So maybe some people in the chat, throw in what you think of our online reporting. Would love to hear what you think about it.
And actually, Dan Jones just had a presentation at a conference at the WLPC EU very recently about like what's his experience with the online reports, because there's definitely something different what you're used to. I pasted the link to that YouTube video, so if you want to check out his experiences. Also, I highly recommend you to try it out, because it not only does it give your customers the ability to zoom and click on an AP and see per AP coverage. It's almost like a real, like a read-only view, but it's more intuitive. You can configure what the customer sees. You can describe each of the views for the customer. You can rename the views. You can put in your own logo, stuff like that. It's almost like your own mini Hamina Network Planner for the customer. That's CEO friendly.
Yep. And go ahead.
Is the read-only version link perpetual? What would happen if the account that made it no longer subscribes? Yeah, then our license enforcement, actually, we keep it. We keep it for you there. So unless you delete it, it will still be there. Even if you forget to subscribe for a while, it will stay there and your customers will be able to access the data.
Yep. You have to take it down or you have to delete the project for it to go down. So great question here from Harry Norman, and also seconded by Mark Gunn, is if you were to do an AP on a stick, if you were to do an AP on a stick, can you freeze the AP and move it to a new location? So on day one, no, we're not going to do that. But a little bit while later, we will add support for AP on a stick surveys. So probably not in our 1.0. Think like 1.1, 1.2, whatever that means. But a little bit later, we will do that. Because
exactly, almost by the time you've bought your plane tickets and you arrive on the site, we will already support that, as long as you are pretty slow at buying those tickets. And,
just hold on.
And as long as you take a pretty slow airplane,
Don't take a direct flight, hop through a couple airports first.
One of those turboprops, forget those Cessnas. I know Mark Gunn usually flies Cessnas, but take a turboprop this time.
But a 152 or a 172? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I don't know. Or is he more like a Learjet guy?
Or a Landcare kind of guy, maybe. I don't know. Our good friend Jiri has a fantastic question. Jiri, that little Apple Watch charger stand that you gave me, I use it literally every day. It's a little miniature Macintosh.
Jiri, that little Cisco bottle you gave me, I literally use it every day. Here's proof.
Those are the best kind of gifts, the ones you use every day. Anyway, his question. Any recommendation on an iPhone or iPad I need to buy first time ever? Fantastic question. Me personally, I would say something with a USB-C port. That's what I would do, especially if you're coming from Android. That's going to be a big that's going to be a big convenience thing for you to be able to just plug it in with USB-C and charge it. Check out either the 11-inch iPad Pro or the iPad Air. One of those two. Jussi, do you have any thoughts?
I would go with the Pros personally, just because A, 6 gigahertz for the future active surveys, and B, LiDAR. Like that's just preparation for the future. Like anything will work that you can buy. But I would stick with the newest Pros. 6 gigahertz, baby. LiDAR, baby.
Nice. And wait, it's the wrong Jiri. Wrong Jiri. I only looked at the first name. Wrong Jiri.
That's right.
This Jiri gave us nothing. So
thanks a lot, Jiri. Thanks for nothing, man. Yeah.
Sorry, we confused you.
sorry, Jiri.
Fantastic question though. So, yeah. He says
Jiri, if that truly hurt, I think we owe Jiri one of these.
I think we do.
Yeah.
If Jiri won't give us something, we'll give him something. How's
exactly. So Jiri, send us your street address or mailing address, and we'll send you one of the Hamina Walrus hoodies.
Why do people join our webinars? Like why do people subject themselves to this?
They just gradually get worse and worse and worse.
They start bad. And then, and it just gets worse. All right, let's keep rolling through questions here. And maybe we shoot to wrap it up in like 5 minutes or so and let everybody go. Thank you so much, everybody, for staying on. We really, really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. Let's see, moving down the list here. I'm just kind of scanning through real quick to grab the major ones. By the way, there's an upvote feature. You can upvote other people's questions if there's something you want to bump up the top, because I don't think we're going to quite get
exactly unless they come from Anders Nielsen, because that's when they're usually just sarcastic or wordplay and not really substance, because this is all about substance. No, I'm kidding.
Obviously. Question from William: is there a mounting mechanism to attach the Wi-Fi clarity device so it doesn't flop around? Great question. Our guy Jerry over in the States has been working with Oscium on the shoulder strap that'll come with the Nomad. It's going to have a little pocket right here on the shoulder strap where you can just stick the Wi-Fi clarity or your Wi-Fi DBX, if that's what you have, in your pocket right there, and then run the cable down to the device so it's nice and clean. So Jerry's been using that, using a prototype of that to survey some warehouses and stuff. It's been working great. So that's that should, I think it'll work pretty well for that. Vasileos says, will you be able to blend measured and simulated data at some point? Not sure. Great question. Something that we need to think through. Yeah, you see back in the back there. You see Kiviniemi. Go ahead.
This actually comes up a lot as well, and that has to be the end goal, right? But I like both. Like in the first phase, we will have them completely separated, and I think like kind of by default, one should not mix the two. Like for basic use, you should not mix the two. Like planning, like there should be one project that involves both planning phase and a survey phase, but by default, you shouldn't be messing that data. We need to be really careful when we bring features that kind of start overlapping to the two, and we will, but that's gonna be a long-term thing and needs to be thought out really carefully. I do see a lot of credit in keeping those completely separate as well.
Yeah, good question for sure.
Absolutely.
Question from Alp: are you planning to implement a speed test app when the surveyor has internet access? Great
Yeah, we should
question.
totally integrate with the Ookla speed test. No, point.
Yeah. If only we knew somebody at Ookla who could help us out. If
Yeah,
only,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Doug. Um, it's a good thing there's
Anyway,
nobody to fire us. That's really good that there's nobody that can fire us. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Oh man, we need to land this plane. Speaking of planes, we need to land this plane really soon because it's getting out of control now. A question is one question here I've seen a couple of times: is it possible to purchase a Nomad and the app? Can you buy the thing that we're talking about? Unfortunately, not yet, but really soon. So if you go to hamina.com/blog, hamina.com/blog, Yusi's going to put it in the chat. We have a blog post in there, and at the bottom, there's a link where you can get on the list, the waiting list to buy one. And so as soon as it's available, we'll contact you on that list and get you a quote and everything. There's absolutely no pressure to buy if you put your name on that list. You're not obligated to give us any money. Don't worry about that. We'll just give you the option to buy, and we're contacting people in the order that they are putting themselves on the list. So go do that. You can also email. Yusi, what's the email address again that they can?
Did I put it right, by the way? salesy.macsalesface@hamina.com.
Yeah, salesy.mcsalesface@hamina.com.
I kid you not. Email that email, and you will get a response from our head of sales.
I really hope that Tommy turned that one on. Did he actually turn it on? I really hope it's there. It is there. Nice. Yeah. Yep. salesy.mcsalesface@hamina.com. So yes, Cheryl, it's real. It's real. Okay. I think we need to land this plane. I think we have time for like one more question. I think we got all the big ones. I think we're in good shape here. Really good question from Nick. Nick, I don't have a perfect answer for this today, but it's something.
Nick?
Not Negroni Nick. Nick Smith. Equally
Okay,
cool,
fair.
Nick, in my opinion. But given that there are various options for serving in terms of capture tools, do we have any offset? Do we have to take any offsets into account for the different receive sensitivities or accuracy of these devices? This is something that I don't think we've landed on an exact answer quite yet on this, but it is something we are thinking about a lot. So, Yusi, comments?
Yeah. What you said. So first version and kind of the default behavior of the unit to me and the app needs to be like, it needs to reflect the typical least capable or like fairly low capable device, and the heat maps need to reflect that. Like everything in the app needs to reflect that. So what we've done is we factory tuned the device close to an iPhone-ish level of RSSI values. So what you get out of the Nomad, well, pretty well, we've down-tuned it to an iPhone level. And that hopefully gets us through like to not offset in the beginning at all. If you want to support weaker devices, there's a couple of things you can do. You can adjust the legend requirements to be stricter. That's what I like to do. And the other thing is often these weaker devices, let's say IoT, Wi-Fi devices, something like that, those are actually more uplink restricted. So what I also like to do is for the predictive side of things, I like to do this doesn't apply for surveys, but for predictive, I like to simulate the uplink or the transmit power of the client device, and then look at the uplink visualization, the uplink heat map. I know it's not something you're used to in other tools, but there's an uplink heat map in the Hamina Network Planner Plus. So I would actually, when I do a predictive for a weak IoT device or some kind of other like device that's inside a box or whatever, I would actually use the uplink visualization and then down compensate the transmit power of the client device, not the AP, but the client device.
Excellent. All right, Yusi, we have room for one final question. This is it. We got to go. Mark has to drop. So see you, Mark.
Thanks for joining.
What's in the Cisco cup? Petri says it's red wine. Is it? Is it red wine?
It is just water.
Just water. Okay. I was 100% ready to believe Petri.
And it's pretty empty because I haven't filled it since I just came last night, like middle of the night from a plane. So I haven't actually filled it yet. I just found it in my backpack.
Nice. All right. Last question for real this time. This is the very last question. Anthony says, when will you be shipping the Nomad? That's a fantastic question, Anthony. Starting in December-ish, probably January-ish, and then I would say February, March more, April more, ramping up as time goes on. So something like that. So we'll see what happens. So everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us for an hour, a little over an hour and a half, 2 hours for some of you. Really appreciate you all doing this. UC, thank you for the webinar. I really enjoyed that, and yeah, thanks for a great presentation.
Likewise, Mr. Crane. Thanks for doing all the heavy lifting. I was merely flipping your slides, so I really appreciate that. And thanks for all the Q&A.
Always happy to help. Thank you so much, everybody, for making it a great webinar. It's really attendees that help us drive the whole thing home and really help make it all fun. So thank you, everybody, for that. And
thanks a lot, guys.
See you on a future webinar.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. It was fun.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.